unfulfilled or not yet manifested desires are all right with you? Thrilling you? Not yet. We like to torture you with that question because we want you to reach the place where you can, without hesitation, say, yes. Even though it has not yet manifested, I still understand it is giving me life. And even though it is not yet manifested, I have found a way of focusing upon it where the energy that I am summoning toward it by my desire is not being trampled by my concern that it has not yet happened. In other words, it hasn't happened yet and I'm optimistic. It hasn't happened yet and I'm eager. It hasn't happened yet and I'm enjoying the unfolding. It hasn't happened yet and I like molding it into place. It hasn't happened yet and I like continuing to offer new amendments to my desire. It hasn't happened yet, but I'm enjoying what has happened. It hasn't happened yet, but I know that it will happen. We want you to find a way of feeling joyful about your not yet manifested desires, because the reason you want them to begin with is so that you can feel better. And if you can feel better even before they manifest, then all that extra time of feeling good and all that much more speedier manifestation. And finally, you come to the realization that is so important for you to come to. There will always be something that you want that has not yet manifested. And that's a good thing, because if it could be otherwise, you could really be dead. And you can't ever be dead. You can never be complete. There will always be something else that you want. So this gathering, which we are calling the Art of Allowing, is really about helping you to manage your energy or balance it. And the energy that we're talking about is the energy between what you want and what you've got. You've got to make peace with where you are before where you are can improve. You can't be bummed out about what is and be in a vibrational place of letting an improvement in. It just can't happen. Any more than you can set your radio dial on 6:30 a.m. and hear what's being broadcast on 101 FM. The frequencies are different, and they can't be different. You know that. You never set a dial and then demand that something different come. You adjust your dial. You get that. And law of attraction insists that you understand that. So the art of allowing is about managing your energy. It's about balancing your energy. It's about balancing the energy in what can feel like the crevasse between what I'm offering vibrationally on some subject on a day-to-day basis. In other words, what I've come to believe, what I've been practicing, and what you really want. What you really want is a vibrational match to who you really are, because your inner being joyously joins you as those preferences emanate from you. We always tease you a little bit when we realize that large numbers of you have come to the place where you no longer know that if it feels good, you're moving in the right direction. You have been programmed by those around you, and we won't get into it unless you really want us to. You have, many of you, come to believe that if you suffer long enough and hard enough, that then good will come as your reward. And we say, where do you get this stuff? It has never proven itself to you. You have never once struggled, and in the struggle allowed something that you want in. Although struggling does sharpen desire. In other words, as you're banging around in that contrast, you are offering rockets of desire, but we promise you it isn't until you relax, it isn't until you withdraw your focus from your awareness about what is going wrong that something can go right. You just cannot push against and fuss against and talk about and keep active in your vibration what you do not want and let it improve. It cannot be. It's like setting your dial on music you hate and then complaining that that's all your radio plays. Why don't I ever get anything good on this station? We say, change the dial. You say, well, give me something good and then I'll change my dial. We say, change your dial and you'll get something you like better. No, give it to me and then I'll change my dial. We say that's irrational, and it is irrational for you to demand that things improve unless you find a way of changing your vibration. So what we want to show you today is that if you will focus on how you feel more, and less upon the factors that are causing you to feel the way you feel, you can morph into better feeling vibrations. And as you do that, as you move up the emotional scale, you will become more of a vibrational match to the more of the things you want, and your life will begin to improve right away. In fact, your life improves in the moment that you decide that you're going to feel better. When you've been brought up in an environment that feels the way it feels, your parents and those that surround you, some way about money or some way about relationships or some way about physical health or some way about the government or some way about business life or career, when you have been influenced by those who surround you to look at things a certain way, you could not possibly just all of a sudden change that point of view. You've learned that attitude. You've learned that point of focus. You picked it up a little bit at a time. It became familiar. Once it became familiar, it was easiest to go there. Once you went there, it became more familiar. Once it became more familiar, it was easiest to go there until you develop what you call beliefs. And a belief is only a thought that you keep thinking. It's only a once activated thought that you activated again and again and again and again and again until it became a dominant activated thought. And then we have to say to you, of course, that's where you're going to start on this subject. Every subject is really two subjects. On one end of the stick is what is wanted, and on the other end of the stick is what is not wanted. And you're somewhere between one end of the stick and the other. And if you've been raised in an environment that really feels negative about money and people who have money, then that's probably the way you vibrate relative to money. And so then when you say, I want more money, you can't let it in because your vibration doesn't match more money. Your vibration matches complaining about those who have it. Your vibration matches not having enough of it. Your vibration matches and your emotions let you know by the way you feel that you're not a vibrational match to more money. Your vibrational match is to not enough money. So we're going to show you how you can shift those vibrations. And the lovely thing about that is as you begin shifting them, you begin feeling better right away. And you will get results. But the thing that we must let you know right out front is that you will not get manifestational results right away. You'll get emotional feeling results right away. And we want so much for you to say, well, that's enough for now. That's enough for now. We want you to make peace with the improved feeling, because when you make peace with the improved feeling, then the manifestation must follow. It is law. But if you don't make peace with an improved feeling, if you don't insist on feeling better, then nothing can change for you. It just can't. Law of attraction says that which is likened to itself is drawn. Radio frequencies must match up, or you cannot receive what you are asking for. When you give your attention to anything, whether it is something you're remembering from the past, or something that you're observing from the present, or something that you're imagining or contemplating, it doesn't matter what word you use. When you say, I'm remembering, or I'm discussing, or I'm imagining, or I'm contemplating, or I'm focusing, or I'm observing, any of those things that mean focus mean you're activating a vibration. And as you activate a vibration, it doesn't have to be active within you very long, really seconds, before you begin getting an emotional feeling response that tells you, hear this very important thing. Your emotions give you an indication of the vibrational mix that you've got going on. So if you have defined a desire about something, but your belief is that you can't do it, your vibrational mix will feel to you like disappointment or discouragement. But if you've got a desire going about something and you believe you can do it, you know it's just a matter of time. You've done it before. You've seen others do it. You're not worried about it. So you feel eager or even hopeful or anticipation, eager, believing. Now you feel passion, you feel eagerness, you feel joy, you feel good as you approach this subject. As you approach every subject of importance to you, you can tell by the way you feel what your emotional balance is, what your vibrational mix is. And we want to show you here today that once you know that your vibrational mix is somewhere on the emotional scale lower than is beneficial to you, in other words, up here in the beneficial range are vibrations that feel like joy and appreciation and love. And down here in the not good feeling range are vibrations that feel like disempowerment, that feel like despair, that feel like fear. On this end of the emotional range is a perception, up there where joy and love and appreciation are, is a perception of freedom. And on the other end, where despair and fear are, is a perception of not freedom, of disempowerment. Empowerment, disempowerment. Isn't that true? Can't you feel in the emotion called fear a feeling of utter disempowerment? Isn't that what it feels like? And can you not agree with us? We want you to, and we know you can, because you've had enough experience with your own emotions to know this. Wouldn't you rather be really, really angry about something than fearful? Every single time. And the reason that anger is an improved vibrational state of being to despair or fear is because it is higher on the emotional scale. But the reason that it feels better to you is because there is more perception of power and freedom in your anger or even revenge than there is in your fear. When you selfishly, and you must do it selfishly because you only have the perspective of self, you must care infinitely about how you feel if you are ever to align with who you are. Do you get that that's what this emotional range is? Connection to your source, less connection to your source. In other words, when you feel wonderful, it means you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on. It means you have achieved, by virtue of what you're focusing upon, vibrational alignment with your source, and your circuits are wide open. And source energy is flooding to you in response to your requests, and you are thriving under those conditions. You feel wonderful, things are going wonderful, your body is thriving. This is the optimum state of being. You must selfishly demand that for yourself. But when somebody says to you, you selfish bugger, you should not always be trying to do and think and say what makes you feel better, do you hear what they're saying to you? They're saying you should subvert your selfishness and you should replace it with mine. You should do what makes me feel better, not what makes you feel better. And if you listen to them, most everybody is clamoring in that way, because most everybody is still living a very conditional love. Most people, when they see something that makes them feel good, they feel good. And when they see something that makes them feel bad, they feel bad. So then they say, we must set out to control the conditions. We'll get enough bombs, we'll get enough warriors, we'll get enough influence, we'll get enough votes, we'll get enough resources, we'll get enough, and we'll make them behave in the way we think we need them to behave, so that in their changed behavior we will feel better. And we say, how's it working out? It will never work out. You are too diverse in your desires. You are too diverse and too free. You are so free you can choose bondage. You cannot find your happiness by controlling the behavior or the outcome of circumstances. You can't do it. But you can manage your vibration. And when you manage your vibration, you manage your point of attraction. And when you manage your point of attraction, you manage your life experience. We want to show you how you can improve your vibrational point of attraction. And we want to help you to understand that that is really the only thing that you need ever give your attention to in order to achieve anything you want from this physical experience. You are source energy, pure positive energy in this physical body on this leading edge of thought. And when your circuits are open, you feel wonderful. And we want to show you how you can keep your circuits open under any and all conditions. But you've got to feel your way there. We've noticed that sometimes, even though you innately know that you should feel good and want to, and sometimes even unconsciously move from fear or despair into anger. In other words, it's sort of an impulse that is innate to you. As you make that move and you recognize that you feel better, it is important that you consciously acknowledge, I made this move on purpose. Because when you acknowledge that you were able to choose a thought that did give you relief, keyword relief, we'll come back to it. When you acknowledge that you did choose a thought that gave you a feeling of relief, now you have given yourself back your power. Because if you can move from despair to rage, you can move from rage to anger. And if you can move from rage to anger, you can move from anger to less anger. And if you can move from anger to less anger, you can move from anger to frustration. If you can move from frustration, you can move into overwhelmment. You can move into belief. You can move into knowing. You can move into ecstasy. But you can't do it all at once. And that's the thing that we really want you to hear. We think the reason that you have not effectively recognized your guidance system earlier on is because you innately tried to make the jump, but you tried to make a jump that law of attraction didn't help you out with. In other words, you cannot jump from despair into appreciation. It's too big of a jump. And so when your science of deliberate creation students of Abraham, art of allowing friends come to you and they see you in your despair and they say, cheer up, you'd just as soon kill them, wouldn't you?